Hi. Good morning, everyone. Let me start this off properly. In her absence, she'll be joining shortly from another meeting, the Minister of Trade and Industry, the Honorable Paula Gopi-Schoon, Ms. Irene Lyons, General Counsel in Illinois Secretary of State, the Honorable LaShawn K. Ford of the Illinois General Assembly, Ms. Dana Hooven, Legislative Assistant to the Honorable Dale Fowler, Illinois Senate, Mr. Danraj Hariprasad, the General Manager of exporTT and our partner in this endeavor, Mr. James Swartout, President and CEO of the Myosin Company, Trinidad and Tobago, very excited for that presentation. Ms. Kanika Espinosa, Research Officer at exporTT, Ms. Pramila Ramdani, Vice President Investments at InvestTT, members of the Board of Directors of AmchamTT, members of staff, members of the media, all our participants, special good morning to you all. Thanks very much for joining us on today's info session, Doing Business with Illinois. This will be followed by an actual trade mission and business-to-business meetings in January. I'm Nirad Tiwari, CEO of AmCham Trinidad and Tobago, and of course, we're doing this with our partners at exporTT. I'll say a little more about that in a second. Before we begin, let me inform you of some of our housekeeping matters. The session is being recorded, so by continuing to participate, you're consenting to be recorded. We have several informative presentations today, followed by a Q&A, which we will facilitate via the chat function. At AmchamTT, one of our goals is to create opportunities for local businesses to expand as well as to facilitate investments from other countries, because we firmly believe Trinidad and Tobago is a good place to do business. We have some of the most innovative and resilient people in the world. Our energy, manufacturing, financial sector, technology sector companies are some of the most recognized and globally competitive. And of course, more and more, we are seeing a vibrant startup and entrepreneurial sector that present exciting opportunities. So we have many of the ingredients for a great place to do business. But I won't say too much on that because we have presenters who will do that. We want to thank our partners at exporTT for helping facilitate this through the Export Booster Initiative program, which is geared towards developing overseas markets and promoting exports through measures outlined under three broad strategic areas, namely export promotion, capacity building, and institutional strengthening. We're eternally grateful for your support, Danraj and team, and we look forward to hearing more about this program and the support for local companies later on in the session. Many of you may be wondering why Illinois? Well, our speakers today will provide insight into the opportunities that are available for local companies with companies in Illinois. Illinois has been described as a powerhouse in the US with the 18th largest economy in the world, 5th largest GDP in the US, and over 2,000 foreign-based companies resident there. All of the indicators show that the state is a leading destination for global investment. Illinois has attracted and grown some of the most innovative companies in the world, and the state also has over 1.2 million small businesses. It's the second largest producer of computer science graduates in the USA, and Chicago alone accounted for 1.7 billion in startup funding in 2017, a fact that helped the city rank among the top 10 tech innovation hubs in the world from KPMG. I just want to very quickly share a personal story about Chicago and Illinois. I've always seen Illinois as a sort of a mythical place because my father went to two universities in Illinois in the course of his academic career. And he would regale me with the stories of Illinois. Some of the less endearing ones, but endearing nonetheless, were around the time that he was a bus driver on the south side and he got robbed, but the guys were nice enough to give him back $5 to get back to where he was going when they took his wallet. But having said that, when I met my now wife, then girlfriend, she was working at TITCO, and she went on a trade mission to a part of a trade show to Illinois, just outside of Chicago. And of course, I took the opportunity to follow up there. And in the course of that, I love to sell Trinidad and Tobago. I believe we have a lot to sell and a lot more people need to know about us. So I went to the booth and I was helping out. And I learned a lot about the Midwest and Illinois. And I really believe that there's significant market complementarity. It's just that we don't know enough about each other. And of course, Chicago and Illinois being somewhat of the hub of the Midwest, a part of the United States that we do not do enough trade with, we think this is an opportunity to start exploring that much, much more. And of course, we have great Illinois companies here in Trinidad and Tobago. You have Myosin, you have WGM, you have United, to name just three, that are all resident in the state of Illinois. And then 4 years ago, I went to Chicago with the ambassador, our ambassador to the USA. And again, the feedback was that with the growing tech sector, the interest in financial services, well, of course, Chicago has a very mature financial services sector. But the potential for complementarity and local firms to do business with Illinois firms and Illinois firms to do business in Trinidad and Tobago is very, very high. We just have to find the right opportunities. And that's what we're trying to do today. So we hope that this is the start of a very successful relationship between businesses and the state of Illinois writ large, and businesses in Trinidad and Tobago and the state of Trinidad and Tobago. So to say more about that and how we could kind of action that, I'd like to introduce Dhanraj Hariprasad, the General Manager, Client Services, and the Acting CEO at exporTT. He's responsible for the company's business service delivery. His leadership prioritizes the needs of our export community through building more internationally competitive firms, developing solutions and partnerships that make exporting easier, and focusing on the business factors that set our exports and exporters apart in the global marketplace. As an economist by training, Dhanraj has spent the last decade focused on building a stronger culture around intelligence-based export decision-making, and he's been a wonderful partner thus far for us at AmchamTT. I'd like to introduce Dhanraj Hariprasad.
Thank you, Nirad, for that introduction. Good morning, everyone. It's our pleasure to welcome you here today to Doing Business with Illinois. I'm Dhanraj Hariprasad, General Manager, Client Services at exporTT Limited. And we are indeed excited and happy to partner with AmchamTT on this seminar and the Illinois Virtual Trade Mission in January 2022. This is a project under the Export Booster Initiative developed in collaboration with the Ministry of Trade and other business organizations to support Trinidad and Tobago's manufacturing sector, which has been severely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Virtual trade missions are absolutely critical at this point in time for the generation of new business, and is a proven way of maximizing the time and resources of our exporters to meet potential buyers and business partners. Throughout the pandemic, exporTT has been able to ensure our clients' export growth and market penetration through leveraging on the relationships we have built over the years in various countries. While we may think that Illinois is off the beaten path in comparison to other US states that we have grown accustomed to, like New York and Florida, there are tremendous opportunities that are worth exploring. This is evident in our recently completed research in Atlanta, Georgia. Some of the reasons why the US is such an important market to us is the diaspora presence and concentration, the close proximity, the Caribbean Basin Initiative, and a positive long-standing trade relationship between our countries. Seminars like these are important to ensure that exporters understand the market opportunities and challenges and assist in preparing them favorably for the business-to-business meetings that will come next year. In business, first impressions are everything. So it's important that we are prepared to make the most of opportunities when we are afforded one. Under the Export Booster Initiative in 2021, we have completed virtual trade missions to Guyana, Jamaica, and we have set our sights on Florida in 2022 with a specific focus on food and beverage. exporTT will also collaborate with FashionTT for a virtual trade mission in Miami to 2022, and several others in collaboration with TTME. We continue to work with our exporters who require various certifications to enter a particular market. Critical to food and beverage manufacturers who would like to export to the US is the Food Safety Modernization Act and the compliance with the rules that govern its implementation. We currently offer support for this through our International Certification Fund, which is also under the Export Booster Initiative, as well as our PSIP-funded International Standards Implementation Program. exporTT looks forward to a successful collaboration with AmchamTT on this project and future endeavors as we support our exporters desirous of doing business in Illinois. I look forward to the presentations today, and we invite you to participate in next year's virtual trade mission. Please visit our website and follow us on social media to learn more about the Export Booster Initiative and all the exciting things that are happening at exporTT. We look forward to your calls, emails, and messages. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Donald, for that introduction and again for your partnership. I understand the Minister of Trade has joined us, so good morning, Madam Minister. Great to have you here. We look forward to your remarks in a short while. At this point, we just want to introduce our next speaker, who is Ms. Irene Lyons, the General Counsel at the Illinois Secretary of State. Ms. Lyons?
Good morning. I'm happy to be here, and I bring you greetings from Jesse White, the Honorable Jesse White, Secretary of State for the state of Illinois, who is the longest serving Secretary of State in Illinois history. This is his 6th term in office. His first term began in January 1999 and will conclude January 2023. As most people know us for our vehicle services and driver services departments, we have approximately or almost 11 million vehicles registered here and 9 million driver's licenses that we've issued and that are current. In fiscal year 21, which was July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, the office revenue was $3.3 billion. I think Secretary is very proud that during his leadership, he's initiated and spearheaded legislation for our graduated driver's licensing program, which led to the reduction in teen driving fatalities by 74%. But we're here to talk about our business services department, and the Secretary of State's office has over 1 million registered domestic and foreign business entities authorized to do business in Illinois. I'm going to give you a breakdown. There are approximately 400,000 corporations, about 100,000 not-for-profit corporations, and there are over 506,000 limited liability companies. And so there's a trend in that there are more limited liability companies, also known as LLCs, being authorized to do business here. And that's because the fees were for registration were lowered, and it's, I guess, more economical, and that's a business decision to conduct oneself as an LLC. But a foreign corporation is a corporation organized under the laws of a state or country other than Illinois. And when a foreign corporation transacts business in Illinois, it must qualify to do business by procuring an authority to transact business in Illinois from the Secretary of State's Department of Business Services. Generally, foreign corporations may transact in Illinois the same kinds of business as Illinois corporations. They may not, however, act in certain fiduciary capacities, and they may not transact business in banking or insurance. So the provisions of the Business Corporation Act apply to all foreign corporations And those foreign corporations enjoy the same rights and privileges as Illinois corporations and are subject to comparable fees and restrictions, penalties, and liabilities. So I'm going to quickly walk you through our application for authority to transact business in Illinois, and that is form BCA 13.15, which you can find on our website, which is www.ilsos.gov. And there's a lot of information on our website under business services. So just briefly, the application requires the corporate name, and the state or country of incorporation, the date of incorporation, the address of the principal office, wherever it's located, and the address of the principal office in Illinois. The name of the registered agent and registered office in Illinois is required for service of process, and so that the department can send notices to the foreign corporation at the registered agent's office. The application requires the states and countries in which the corporation is admitted or qualified to transact business. Oops. And the name and addresses of the officers and directors are required. The purpose of the corporation for which it is organized, authorized and issued shares of stock, paid in capital, and you're required to give an estimate of the total value of all property of the corporation for the upcoming year, and an estimate of the total value of all the property of the corporation that will be in Illinois, the estimated total business of the corporation to be transacted by it everywhere for the upcoming year, and the estimated annual business of the corporation to be transacted by it at or from places of business in the state of Illinois. And the corporation is asked, is it transacting business in the state at this time? And when did it start, if so? And the application must be accompanied by certified copies of the articles of incorporation as amended and duly authenticated within the last 90 days by the proper officer of the state or country wherein the corporation is incorporated. And it must be signed by an authorized officer. And property is defined as all property of the corporation, real, personal, tangible, intangible, or mixed without qualifications. And the tax rate is franchise tax rate is 1/10 of 1% of the corporation's paid in capital, with a cap of $2 million annually. And there's a similar form. The limited liability company must complete an application for admission to transact business in Illinois if it's a foreign LLC. And that form is comparable to the form I just mentioned. So thank you, and we look forward to you doing business in the state of Illinois.
Thank you very much. We hope that we could continue to count on the Secretary of State's office. We know he's a very influential figure in the state of Illinois, and that your office will facilitate once we have potential for trade. So thanks very much. Next, I'd like to call on Dana Hooven, Legislative Assistant to the Honorable Dale Fowler, Illinois State Senate, who will bring some brief remarks on behalf of the Senator. Dana?
Good morning. I'm not sure if you can see me or not. Hang on just one second, sorry. There we go. I'm not very practiced with this. I apologize. Good morning from Southern Illinois. I'm sorry that State Senator Fowler could not make it this morning, but he is actually at a conference in Minnesota, basically covering topics like what we're discussing today, economic development. The senator has made CARO, the Alexander County CARO Port project, his #1 priority as far as expansion in economic development here in Southern Illinois. And I'll touch briefly on just a few reasons as to why that is. First and foremost, there's really nowhere else quite like CARO. 80% of all inland barge traffic passes through the port site. And a really neat fact is the fact that you can reach over 60% of all of the United States population within an 8-hour drive in any direction from the port. The site is served by Class 1 rail, 3 major interstates, and a regional airport. There are also no locks, dams, or ice between CARO and the Gulf of Mexico, which is another reason why over 80% of all inland barge traffic passes straight through the port site. The senator was able to secure $40 million in funding from the Rebuild Illinois Capital Plan for this project. Illinois State Governor Pritzker has been a major supporter of the project. It's also a United States federal opportunity zone. So investors can elect to temporarily defer tax on capital gains if they invest in those amounts in a qualified opportunity fund. It's also the state of Illinois enterprise zone. Exemptions on retailers' occupation taxes paid on building materials, expanded sales tax exemptions on purchases of personal property used or consumed in the manufacturing process, exemption on state utility tax for electricity and natural gas, which is huge right now for Illinois residents, and exemptions on the ICC administrative charge and telecommunication excise tax. The port also resides in what's called a TIF district, or a tax increment financing district, for local tax abatement, excuse me. The senator also wanted me to let you guys know that he just facilitated a tour of the CARO Port District for the Taiwanese delegation that came to Southern Illinois last month. It was a really great experience for them. It showed them all the potential that our port project has. And the senator wanted me to extend an invitation. Anytime you guys would like to come and check out our port project, please feel free to contact us, let us know, and we'll set it up and get you guys here. Thank you again for having me.
Thanks very much, Dana, for that. So among other things, one of the points that we want to make is that Illinois really is a hub, and in Trinidad and Tobago, we need to think beyond the traditional centers of trade with the US, which is still our largest trading partner in the world and the Midwest, and using Illinois as a gateway to the rest of the United States, but in particular the US, can be an opportunity yet untapped, especially I think for tourism, which is a subject of another webinar, I suppose, but it's something that we can follow up. It's now my pleasure to introduce the Minister of Trade and Industry of Trinidad and Tobago, Senator the Honorable Paula Gopi-Schoon, who has been a great supporter of initiatives such as these and an excellent salesperson of Trinidad and Tobago on the world's stage. Senator the Honorable Paula Gopi-Schoon was reappointed Minister of Trade and Industry on August 19, 2020. She has been a member of Parliament since 2007 and previously served as Minister of Foreign Affairs. In her second term as Minister of Trade and Industry, she aims to continue building upon and expanding programs initiated over the past 6 years or so in an effort to improve the export capacity of the local manufacturing sector, to continue to position Trinidad and Tobago as a business and trade hub of the Caribbean. She will also continue to lead the charge towards stimulating domestic and foreign investments while implementing policies to enhance the global competitiveness of Trinidad and Tobago. She believes in continuous stakeholder engagement to ensure participation in the growth and development of all sectors for a sustainable and vibrant economy. Her personal interests extend to the deepening of Caribbean integration, and she believes in and is committed to equal opportunities for personal growth, self-expression, and participation in the development process of Trinidad and Tobago for all citizens. She has been an accessible and helpful minister to AmCham Trinidad and Tobago, and we're very proud and honored that she's taking the time to attend this webinar and participate with us. Please welcome the Minister of Trade and Industry of Trinidad and Tobago, Senator the Honorable Paula Gopi-Schoon.
And thank you very much, Nerad. Ms. Irene Lyons, the General Counsel of the Illinois Secretary of State, the Honorable LaShawn Ford, the Legislator from the Illinois General Assembly, Ms. Dana Hooven from the Legislative Assistant to Honorable Dale Fowler, Illinois Senate. Of course, all of the executives from AmCham, InvestTT, exporTT, we acknowledge you, and I'm very pleased to support this venture today. I'm pleased to provide welcome remarks at today's webinar on doing business in Illinois. The economic relationship between Trinidad and Tobago and the United States of America has always been a constant and important one, built upon mutual trust and the common goal of sustainable growth and development. The renewal of the Caribbean Basin Initiative between Caribbean countries and the United States in October 2020 is but one example of the common understanding whereby furthering trade and investment can enhance the well-being of our citizens. Despite the asymmetries between our countries, the growing relationship is a good sign, especially in these uncertain times. In 2020, Trinidad and Tobago exported over 14 billion TT dollars to the USA, reflecting a trade surplus of almost 1.9 billion TT dollars. While robust and growing, our exports heading north are dominated by energy and energy-related products. Forests such as this, therefore, are critical to diversifying trade and allowing exporters, importers, distributors, and investors on both sides to better understand the opportunities that exist and the most effective means to exploit them. In fact, this has already begun, according to a recent Sabero report. Trinidad and Tobago exports to the United States have become more diversified, and we have begun to export a greater number of products to the US and became less reliant on exports of just a few products. For the Illinois market, we have earmarked specific sectors with export potential, including the creative industries, food and beverage, construction goods, printing and packaging, chemicals and technology-related products. Doing business in Illinois is an example, not only of the growth of the TT-US economic relationship, but also an evolution of that relationship. When an exporter or investor thinks about the US market, it can be overwhelming, especially if it encompasses new markets in which there aren't significant diaspora populations. Producing and selling to the Trinidad and Tobago market, 1.3 million people, is quite different to the strategy for entering the US market of 330 million. The state of Illinois, with a population of 12 million, significantly reduces the scope, but alternatively allows the exporter or investor the opportunity to better understand that market, to better calculate the risks and rewards of such a move, and to better appreciate the existing and possible new opportunities for growth and expansion. In reality, there really is no trade-off to be made in terms of scale. The Illinois economy stands at almost US $900 billion, the third largest in the United States after New York and Los Angeles, and ranks higher than several sovereign states, including those such as Turkey and Switzerland. So I therefore urge all domestic businesses to actively consider Illinois and all the opportunities that exist and could exist there. For those seeking to invest in Trinidad and Tobago, there are countless opportunities. Our Twin Island Republic is the perfect combination. Trinidad, a commercial center in the Caribbean, offers investors an environment that provides the infrastructure and resources required to establish your business. Tobago, on the other hand, is the prime ecological destination that attracts the savvy tourist and green economy investor. Investors in Trinidad and Tobago can expect some of the lowest utility rates for water and electricity in the world, and an adaptable and highly skilled workforce. The government welcomes all investments. However, there are key sectors that we are focused on to assist in our economic recovery and expansion. And these include ICT and emerging technologies, including robotics, software development and artificial intelligence, manufacturing, tourism, financial services, maritime and logistics, as well as business process outsourcing. And to those investors in North America, I truly appreciate your interest in Trinidad and Tobago and reiterate that this is a place where your investments will be safe, sound, and profitable. The government is guided by our roadmap to recovery with clear short and medium-term recommendations that promote investment, entrepreneurship, innovation, and the ease of doing business, and which serves as part of our overall National Development Strategy, Vision 2030. As I close, I would like to thank those at the American Chamber of Commerce and in the state of Illinois, as well as the members of the private sector, exporters, importers, and investors who made this event a reality. And to those ready to do business in Trinidad and Tobago or in Illinois, representatives from exporTT and InvestTT are here to ensure your experience is a seamless and productive one. This webinar, as you all know, is a precursor to a virtual trade mission to Illinois in January 2022. The first ever, but I'm sure not the last. And I do really wish you all the greatest success today and then. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. And as you would no doubt know, our success in this would be your success in promoting trade and investment as well. So thanks for taking the time and being so flexible with your schedule and always open and available to us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And right, so now we get into sort of the meat of the matter. We have Ms. Kanika Espinosa from exporTT and Ms. Pramila Ramdani from InvestTT, who will be delivering a joint presentation on both enabling export growth and investment in Trinidad and Tobago. For over 2 years, Kanika Espinosa has been a research officer at the Research and Opportunity Unit of exporTT. In this role, she has assisted dozens of exporters and potential exporters in attaining market intelligence, which helped guide their business decisions. Most recently, Kanika led a virtual market survey to the British Virgin Islands, in which she, along with a consultancy firm, met virtually with service providers and other agencies from BVI to gather information such as seller requirements, taxes, pricing trends, barriers to trade, and logistics. Currently, she is leading guidance to the Florida and Colombia market survey with the aim of supporting TNT exporters expanding to new markets. Kanika is a graduate of the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus with both a Bachelor of Science degree in International Relations and Master's degree in Global Studies. Meanwhile, Pramila Ramdani is the Vice President Investments at InvestTT, where she leads the portfolio of foreign direct investments into Trinidad and Tobago. Prior to joining InvestTT in 2020, Pramila spent just over 20 years in Canada working in economic and social development, notably entrepreneurship, innovation, and higher education in the public sector. As an accomplished innovation leader, entrepreneurial executive, and educator, Pramila brings a formidable 20+ years of global experience in transforming economic development ecosystems, accelerating market-led innovations, and attracting investments from diverse sources to support the growth and scalability of companies, including female-led businesses. Pramila founded and successfully led an Ontario-based business incubator and co-working hub that supported over 1,500 startup entrepreneurs. In 2019, she was nominated for the RBC Woman of Influence in Canada and was the 2018 recipient of the Social Impact Award by Powerful Women Today for her leadership initiatives contributing to the growth of women entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurs in Ontario. Please welcome Ms. Kanika Espinosa from exporTT and Ms. Pramila Ramdani from InvestTT, who will be delivering the joint presentation on the topic, enabling growth and investment.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. All protocols observed. I'd like to begin by sharing my screen. Just give me one moment. All right, so my presentation today is going to be a brief guide to trading with Illinois. As you would have heard just now, I'm a research officer at exporTT. So we provide everything from market sizes, trade flow data, buyers or distributor information, shipping logistics, competitor info, anything that you would need to really get your product or your service abroad. Okay, so let's take a look at the current trade data between Trinidad and Tobago and Illinois. So this data would have been sourced from US Data Web. So that's a government source. And as you can see, from 2016 to 2018, there was growth in trade. These are US values. So we reached as high as 898,000 US in 2018. From there, however, there was a steep decline. As far as I could see, this decline took place in the category of beverages. So for some reason, the imports of beverages would have fallen quite significantly over this period. However, I mean, 2 years is not enough for us to say, well, this is a trend that's going to maintain. So hopefully over the next few years, we could see a growth again. Okay, so Trinidad and Tobago is currently exporting plastics and articles, special classification provisions, so that's everything that doesn't fall into the normal categories, iron and steel products, beverages, spirits and vinegar, electrical machinery and equipment, and paper and paperboard products. So you can see the majority of our exports right now is plastic products. All right, so the export process generally follows this. You start off with deciding to export. So you have to understand whether or not your company is export ready. And right after this, I'm going to show you a look at our export readiness tool. You have to understand the market. So market research is really important. It's not just, okay, there's opportunities in the market. Let me just go and let me just start my business right away. You do have to do your research, to meet with people, to understand whether or not you can meet all of the requirements necessary. The documents and regulations, whether or not you can achieve all of the regulations that are, sorry, I lost the slide there. All right. Choosing an entry strategy is also really important. You do have to understand which distribution channel you're going to go through, whether or not you'll go through a buyer or whether or not you go straight to a customer and market directly to them. Finding buyers, exporTT is really great at that. We do have a database called Fangiva, and that will assist us in getting you buyer information. Setting the price, I'm going to show you a tool a little later on how to set your price, and of course, staying power in the market. So getting into the market isn't just the only part. You do have to figure out how you're going to keep your products on the market, or if you're doing a service, how you're going to keep those buyers from coming back to you and you know, buying that service from you again. All right, so export readiness tool. Are your products successful domestically? So before going into exporting, it's important to take a hard look at your company to determine how export ready it is. So these questions are a great way of figuring out if you have most things in place. It's not necessary to have everything, but you should at least have some of the critical ones, like resources, a unique and competitively priced product or service, and some success in the domestic market. So exporTT has developed this short export readiness tool, which can be used to assess your company. So you could feel free to reach out to us if you're interested in having your company assessed. So other questions in the export readiness tool: do you have a solid domestic business plan? You do need to understand everything that it takes to export and to be able to make sure that you meet all of those requirements. Do you have advantages over the competition? Is your product unique? For example, we do see that products that are marketed as Caribbean or tropical do tend to do very well in the US. Are your products competitively priced? Sometimes people come into a market and they have a very set price. that they want to sell at, because of course that's going to maximize their profits. But sometimes you do have to go a little lower on that pricing to achieve success first, to become established, and then later on you can raise your pricing. Do you have resources of time, people, and capital to invest? Exporting can be a time-consuming process, so understanding whether or not you have that resource is very important. You do need people to be in contact with the buyers and distributors to make sure that line of communication is always open. And capital, it can be expensive sometimes to get all of the standards and certifications to translate your documents. exporTT does have some financial resources that we can use to assist you with that. So you can always reach out to us after to find out more about that. And what's your level of awareness of cultural differences? So for example, selling pepper sauce, Trinidad and Tobago, maybe Guyana, other countries in the region, we like our pepper sauce very spicy, but the US might like this a bit milder. So understanding that difference is really key to get success in the market. Okay, so a closer look at Chicago in Illinois. It's one of the more populous cities. The population is 2.7 million. GDP per capita, 65,000 US. It's the largest city of Illinois, and it's actually the third largest city of the US after New York and Los Angeles. So it's located in the southeastern tip of Lake Michigan in the north of Illinois, and it's right by a port is the Illinois International Port District. All right, so the shipping documents you would generally need to export: certificates of origin. So this is usually sourced through the Customs and Excise Division. The bill of lading, this is a document issued by a carrier. That's somebody who transports and delivers goods. To a shipper, somebody who supplies or owns the goods. So this confirms that the goods were received in acceptable condition and they're ready to be shipped. This is a legally binding document, and it serves basically as proof of ownership over the goods being carried. There's the commercial invoice. The commercial invoice is the primary document used for importation control, valuation, and duty determination. This document identifies the products being shipped, Incoterms, info for shipper, and the consignee. There's the sales contract. There's an international agreement between a buyer and seller, basically identifying, I have agreed to sell you these products. A customs declaration, which shows the detailed description of the goods being exported. And of course, an insurance policy to protect your goods. All right, so some of the major trends we would have seen in the US during the COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen a rise in online shopping and robot deliveries, a rise in digital and contactless payments, remote work. Of course, everybody is aware of the joys and the downfalls of working from home. Online entertainment. So if you are providing a service in the entertainment industry, we've seen more of those appearing online. Supply chain performance and customer satisfaction is really key. And also disruptions to the global supply chain, which has led to increase in prices of some goods, and also opportunities, for the Caribbean to provide those goods to the US, because shipping from China has become so expensive now. Some factories have been shut down, which means that buyers and distributors are looking for suppliers. Paper-based records are now vulnerable. So if you are still paper-based, you should look at getting online as soon as you can. All right, competitiveness. Competitiveness depends on discounting and promotion. So promoting your goods in the market is really important. Price is a primary driver. So if your product is cheap, but it's not really known very well in the market, there's still a chance that people will buy it because, of course, pockets are a little low now because of the pandemic, because of people losing their jobs. So companies are relying on price discounts and promotions to really drive that volume of sales. manufacturers bear most of the cost of trade promotion. So if you're thinking, okay, I'm going to sell to a grocery and then they would pay to have my good promoted, no, the manufacturer is really the one who has to pay for that promotion. Frequent discounts, this has conditioned consumers to look for the best deal, and it's diminished brand loyalty. So people are going to be looking for the cheaper product over a brand that they are familiar with. So these deep discounts and specials increase short-term volumes, but this means that long-term business would decrease. So for example, if you bought a huge stock of, let's say, soap, so you're good on soap for the rest of the year, you won't buy later on in the year, which means in long term, the sales will decline. And low margins, grocery stores operate with extremely low margins, which means that when they buy from sellers, from manufacturers, that margin is going to be pretty low as well. Okay, so other major trends, the divider is really health. So wealthy individuals are spending more on things that will allow them to live longer. So organic products, fitness products, gluten-free, vegan is really trending as well now. National brands have fallen out of favor and they're considered not healthy. So corporations want to capture more revenue using their own brands. So why promote a new brand unless it's going to be very healthy, organic, and it's going to stand out in the market? So strong private label that will help to retain customers. The private label products tend to be cheaper as well. So you do get that market of people who would have lost their jobs, who have less income now that they're home. So this trend is really on the rise. All right, so pricing and distribution channel. You do have to price your product correctly. So you have to know about the positioning of your product. This is crucial to its success. So the price should reflect the product's perceived value to the consumer. So if it is, as I said, like a new product, they don't know it as well, then you come in at a medium pricing so that at least it would be intrigued enough and their pockets would agree with picking up this new product. Consumers are not going to purchase a more expensive product unless its value is perceived as greater. So looking at your labeling, at your packaging, really lining yourself up to stand out on the shelves. Correct pricing allows you to earn a profit for the growth of the company. So you have to factor all the costs of doing business. So not just, okay, just shipping and logistics, but also promoting your product in stores, also reworking your labeling and your packaging and administering the marketing. Some opportunities. Now, I believe somebody later on is going to speak more specifically to the opportunities in Illinois, but these are some general opportunities. So consumer spending at grocery stores is growing. So everybody's eating at home, so they're tending to buy much more ingredients to cook at home. Online shopping is trending and growing. If you don't have a website, that's definitely something that you need to look into if you intend to export abroad, because people don't know your product. The first thing they're going to do is Google. And if they don't find your product while Googling, then that's going to be a problem. They aren't going to take you as being serious. So e-commerce platforms provide market intelligence. So if you are looking at the US, you can start off with Amazon, with Shopify, Rakuten. You can see which products are really trending, which are growing. You see those sales climbing. That's probably the niche that you want to get into. Chicago as well, they have a large population of Black and Hispanic persons, and we do see our food and beverage products doing really well, as taste palettes tend to be similar there. Attending an industry-specific trade show. That's definitely helpful. I mean, we do a lot of virtual events, but being there, being in person, letting persons actually touch, feel your product, see how it's working, see how it's tasting, that's really priceless to getting that seal. Selecting a market representative or a salesperson is key. You can do it on your own, but if you have a market representative, you identify somebody who is there, who could actually go to the groceries, see where your products are, make sure they aren't being blocked by anything. That's really going to build your presence in the markets, and it's going to help your public relations activities. All right, so the Caribbean Basin Initiative, I believe Dan Rich would have spoken about this earlier. This grants duty-free treatment to nearly all of the products from beneficiary countries, of which Trinidad and Tobago is a part. So in order to receive benefits, products have to be imported directly from a CBI country. So if you import a good from China and you want to re-export to the US, that will not qualify. It has to be wholly the grown product or manufacturer of the CBI country. So either, let's say you're exporting fresh peppers, that's wholly grown right here in Trinidad and Tobago, so that's fine. If it's not wholly grown, like let's say it's a granola bar, and you would have had imports from, say, Brazil of nuts or something like that, at least 35% of that product has to be local content. You are allowed to have 15% of the minimum, 15% of that 35% be from the US, and that would be okay. All right, so looking at the process of product entry. So starting off Trinidad, manufacture the product, negotiate the pricing, you get a distributor or a buyer, and as I said before, exporTT can assist with that. You package for shipping, you ensure that the shipment meets FDA requirements, and I'll speak about that a little later on. Ensure the label requirements are met. Not all labeling is going to be the same. Labeling for the Canadian market, for instance, is different from the US. Ensure that you have all of your certifications first, complete your shipping document, and then you contact your customs broker who will just walk you through the rest of the process to getting your products abroad. All right, so from the USA side of things, your customs broker, make sure that they are very familiar with the FDA process. If they are not and they can't pinpoint anything that's wrong, then you stand the risk of your product not getting into the US. So FDA, make sure those checks and balances are in place. Secure your import permit. You have to clear all of your regulatory jurisdictions and make sure your transport arrangements are in place from the port to the person who's actually buying your product. Because this depends on Incoterm. So if you have that Incoterm where you just have to deliver your product to the port, then that's fine. If you have one where you have to deliver it to the actual door, then make sure that's all in place so you can have a very smooth arrival. All right, so importers of food products intended for the introduction into the US, you have to ensure that the products are safe, sanitary, and labeled according to US requirements. There's a standard called HACCP, that's the Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point. It's a management system in which food safety is addressed through analysis and control of biological, chemical, and physical hazards. So this standard is really key if you are intending to export any product for ingestion or for contact with humans, for example, like creams or so. And there's also the Foreign Supplier Verification Program, where a US person, an FDA representative would actually come and inspect your facilities and certify it to make sure everything is above board. So your retailer would then receive the goods, price, and get ready for the shelves. You plan your launch and promotions in conjunction, basically. So you have to agree on the pricing and how much you're willing to invest into that promotional activity. You're setting your goals and your sales level, and you're going to formulate a plan, whether or not you will be supplying any samples or any kind of promo activity, websites, through Facebook, social media, and so on. All right, so finding a buyer. So this is the database I spoke about earlier. This is called Panjiva. It's a shipping database. It's a global trade data company. It's subscription-based, so we have access to that. So if you are interested in getting a buyer in Illinois, we can assist with that. Panjiva's customers use the data in different ways. You can search for suppliers or manufacturers. You can find new customers, and you could track competitors' trade activity as well. So this is just an example of what we can do. This would have been, I believe I was looking at fresh peppers, finding a buyer for fresh peppers in Chicago. And these are all the buyers where you see the orange dots, and this would have been one of the buyers and the kind of information available. So you can get their email, the address, phone number, website, everything that you need to start making calls and getting that sale. Okay, so setting the price. So the landed cost is the total price of the product once it has arrived at the buyer's doorstep. So this is calculated by first determining the value of the foreign tariffs and the taxes. Then you're going to figure out your shipment CIF value. So CIF, that's an Incoterm. It means cost, insurance, and freight. So you add your cost to insurance, to freight, and then you could calculate the tariff based on that. You can determine your taxes. Taxes, you can normally get that information online as to what are the state taxes that you could expect to meet. And then you could estimate the landed cost. So when you have the landed cost, you could kind of work backwards using that to then determine your pricing to really figure out what's your profit going to be at the end of the day. All right, so staying power, as I said, is really important to promote your product, provide in-market support, samples, giveaways. exporTT provides support through market research, training programs, grants for things like website, product development, packaging changes, shipping of samples. So some of our grants include co-financing, so that's 50% up to 60,000 TT per year. That's for small companies. For medium companies, I believe it's 55,000, and then for large, 50,000. We have the research and development facility, so that's around 1 million for any kind of innovative manufacturing process you come up with. International certification fund that assists with all of the FDA requirements, 50% up to $50,000 in getting you closer to that international standard. Then there's the grant fund facility, so that's up to $250,000 TT. And I've also sent some company and sector profiles that I've asked AmCham to share after. So for those of you who are interested in looking specifically at the companies and what they're doing, their different products and the services that they offer, this can be sent to you after by our friends in AmCham. So other staying power, being clear about your pricing, making sure you are communicating complete, clear, fast responses within that 24-hour period. Knowing your packaging and labeling requirements, certification requirements, and being proactive. And that brings me to the end of the presentation. Just want to thank everyone today for that. And you can feel free to reach out to me. There's my email address. I'll also drop it in the chat so you can reach out if you need any assistance with market research and market intelligence. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Kanika. We'll move straight into Pramila.
Thanks very much, Nirad. I'm sharing my screen now, but I think we'll have to take down exporTT screen. Let's see if this works. Are you seeing my screen?
Yeah, we are, but you just probably want to put it in presentation.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks very much, Kanika. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Pramila Ramdani from InvestTT, and it is my pleasure to join you on behalf of InvestTT to present some of the investment opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago. You would have heard from Kanika on how do you export from Trinidad and Tobago. I will present to you today how do you set up your business in Trinidad and Tobago, as well as share with you some of the investment opportunities here in Trinidad and Tobago. So here is a brief overview of some of the areas that I would be reviewing with you today. Our services at InvestTT, a brief overview of Trinidad and Tobago, a USA Trinidad and Tobago connection, prioritized investment opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago, our real estate, industrial real estate opportunities, and a little bit on our incentives. InvestTT. So who's InvestTT in Trinidad and Tobago? We are the investment promotion agency of the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Our services to investors or foreign investors as well as local investors are free, and we provide 3 levels or 3 pillars of services.
Firstly, we provide pre-investment support. So if you're interested in setting up a business from Illinois, if you're in Illinois and interested in setting up a business in Trinidad and Tobago, we would be your first stop. So we provide you with everything from, in terms of site visits, we arrange your site visits. If you're interested in coming here, we provide you with packages of information on specific sectors. We also provide you with an overview of the incentives in Trinidad and Tobago. Assist if you're looking at property, greenfield, brownfield opportunities, we also assist with that. And anything within the value chain advisory, we provide that to you before you make an investment in Trinidad and Tobago. And these services are mostly virtual. If there's a site visit in store as well, we also facilitate that. Once you have decided to invest in Trinidad and Tobago, we also provide operational supports. If there is an opportunity for approvals with our statutory agencies, any applications, we liaise with governments as well as the private sector in terms of helping you to cross that bridge. Policy advocacy is also another area that we focus on in Trinidad and Tobago. At the post-investment stage, you might be interested in expanding your business in Trinidad and Tobago. We also provide additional services there in terms of helping you to expand into other areas within the country. We provide business linkages, identify new opportunities, as well as help you with any expansion approvals. For many of you who have been hearing about Trinidad and Tobago for the first time, the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago is one of the most southernmost twin island states in the Caribbean archipelago. We are well known for our petroleum and natural gas reserves in Trinidad and Tobago. We provide a very robust and welcoming foreign investment destination for investors who are looking for economic stability, as well as a cosmopolitan hub, a tech talent hub, as well. We are a very vibrant destination for business. In terms of location, we are really at the crossroads of many international shipping and flight lanes in the Caribbean, as well as North America. We are approximately 1,618 miles southeast of Miami and about 11 kilometers or 6.8 miles northeast of Venezuela. Our sister island, Tobago, lies on the northeastern coast of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm sorry. So this gives you a flavor of how do you work, play, live, and invest in Trinidad and Tobago. We have a very diverse population. You've perhaps heard that a few times this morning. Our population, we have roots from Africa, India, Europe, the Mediterranean, Middle East, China, as well as our first peoples in Trinidad and Tobago, our first original settlers. We do have a very talented and educated work pool. We have also been deemed as one of the happiest Caribbean countries by the United Nations in 2020 through their World Happiness Report. Trinidad and Tobago is also well known as the festival capital in the Caribbean, being the birthplace for the steel pan, calypso, and other soca music genres. Tobago, as our minister has mentioned earlier on, is really a tourism destination. It is an ecological destination in contrast to the energized, fast-paced, highly industrial environment of Trinidad and Tobago. And it's by air, it's 20 minutes from Trinidad, and by ferry, it's about 2.5 hours. Pre-pandemic, almost 56% of the island in Trinidad and Tobago, their workforce was engaged in tourism. And prior to the pandemic as well, almost 50% of Tobago's total GDP came from tourism. In terms of our country profile, we are 1.4 million in Trinidad and Tobago. Our labor force is about 615,000, and our literacy rate is very high, approximately 98.8%. Our GDP in US dollars is 21.53 billion. Our currency is TT dollars, which is approximately the exchange value between TT and the US is around 6.77 cents. So why do you invest in Trinidad and Tobago? Why would you invest in Trinidad and Tobago? Top reasons. We're an ideal location in Trinidad and Tobago. We are considered the Caribbean hub with access to both South American markets as well as North American markets. Our business cost, as you would have heard earlier, is very low in Trinidad and Tobago. We do have a highly skilled talent pool that's ready to work, wide-ranging market access through our treaties. We also have world-class infrastructure in Trinidad and Tobago and attractive incentives. At this time, we have about 450 global companies who have set up operations in Trinidad and Tobago. So our market reach is almost 997 million, even though our population, as I mentioned earlier, was 1.4 million. Our market reach is approximately 997 million. And this is because of our trade agreements with several countries. Our largest exports by value in 2020 was natural gas, methanol, ammonia, petroleum oils, and ferrous products. And our key sectors include oil and gas, manufacturing, as well as services. This is another reason why most businesses choose Trinidad and Tobago as well. In terms of the climate change, there have very few operational disruptions because we are not in the Atlantic hurricane belt. We are safe from that. We are below the Atlantic hurricane belt in Trinidad and Tobago. And over the last century, we only had 3 hurricanes that affected Trinidad and Tobago. So it is quite safe to set up business in Trinidad and Tobago if you're looking at being away from that hurricane belt. So in terms of competitive advantages, again, I want to recap, we do have a very skilled, talented pool in Trinidad and Tobago, a very educated workforce that is ready to work with foreign investors or foreign companies. We do have international market access, low business costs, a robust digital infrastructure, greenfield, brownfield opportunities. Location, we are a gateway to the Americas, very low energy costs, as mentioned earlier, diverse peoples, diverse cultures, naturally sheltered deep water harbor, and a robust port infrastructure. I will review briefly our USA and TT connection because I think it was covered earlier, but it must be emphasized here in terms of our robust connection and our historic connection between the US and TT. Between both countries, we do have strong diplomatic ties. The US Embassy is located in Port of Spain, Trinidad, which is our capital city here in Trinidad and Tobago. And we also maintain several diplomatic offices in the US, including Miami, New York, and Washington, DC. Our honorary consuls are also present or located in Los Angeles, Houston, as well as San Juan. As mentioned earlier by our partner agency, exporTT, our sister agency, exporTT, Trinidad and Tobago is one of the US closest partners trading partners in the Caribbean region. We have not only trading ties, but diplomatic ties, economic ties, historic military cooperation, as well as deep cultural and family connections. Our largest diaspora population is in the US. Some of the agreements that were mentioned earlier include TT, Trinidad and Tobago USA Bilateral Investment Treaty that was signed in 1994 but came into effect in 1996. There's also the US TT Income Tax Convention, which provides for the avoidance of double taxation. And as mentioned by Kanika earlier on as well, there's the Caribbean Basin Initiative, incentives and grants. In terms of our diaspora population in the US, we have approximately 212 persons who are currently in the US, according to the 2019 American Community Survey of the Census Bureau, that are living currently in the US. So we do have a large diaspora population in the US. Similarly, we do have about 10,000 US citizens who visit Trinidad on vacation, on all business, almost every year. And these include some of our famous Americans who were of Trinidad and Tobago descent: Winston Duke, Romany Marco, Heather Headley, Jennifer Carroll, as well as Damon John. Between Trinidad and Tobago and the US as well, there's a very effective transportation link in terms of air travel to Trinidad and Tobago. These are some of the major islands, some major airlines, my apologies, that ply the route between Trinidad and Tobago and the US. That's pre-COVID, and it's getting back to normal as we speak. Caribbean Airlines, that's our national airlines, run a few flights between Trinidad and the US, American Airlines, as well as JetBlue and United. Now I'll go through some of the priority investment opportunities. For many of you who might be interested in doing business in Trinidad and Tobago, there are several opportunities, but these are our prioritized investment opportunities. In the chat box, in a few minutes, we will be posting a link to our investment brochure or a flip book of investment opportunities, which is an extensive list of other opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago. And I encourage all of you to take a look through that. There's also will be a video link that's posted. That's our newest video on opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago. In the interest of time, I may not be able to post that, to share that video now, but please do take a look at that video. So in terms of our priority investment opportunities, there are 4 that I'd like to highlight today. Voice contact centers, which is BPOs, ship layups, offshore transshipment, logistics, and electricity intensive manufacturing. Electricity intensive manufacturing. Several opportunities exist for manufacturing companies to set up operations in Trinidad and Tobago. We do have an abundant and dependable supply of low-cost energy here. So if you're interested in food, beverage, tobacco product manufacturing, pulp manufacturing, printing, or other related support activities, even inorganic chemicals, there are opportunities here. We do have our, I'll highlight that in a little bit, our newest park, which is the Phoenix Park Industrial Estate, which is a 144-acre estate, provides opportunities for manufacturing. That's one of the cluster industries that we are hoping to attract within the Phoenix Park Industrial Estate. It's the E-Tech Industrial Park. I do have to also mention that that park, it will be fully 5G powered, which will be the only industrial estate or industrial park in the Caribbean, as well as Latin America, that would be 5G powered. So great opportunity there to establish your manufacturing operations. In addition to manufacturing, our other priority investment opportunity include logistics and distribution. So opportunities exist for bonded warehouse in Trinidad and Tobago, the setup of bonded warehouses, as well as third-party logistics hub, where you can provide integrated logistics solutions to both local as well as regional markets. Again, the Phoenix Park Industrial Estate is ideally suited for these types of setup. Maritime is also a big sector within Trinidad and Tobago, and it is one of our priority investment opportunity for ship layups, both cold layups as well as warm layups. Trinidad and Tobago is considered amongst the world's top destinations for both ship storage as well as layups. Transshipment is also another maritime opportunity that's available for ship-to-ship transfer operations within a pre-designated location within the Gulf of Paria, just off Trinidad and Tobago. Business process outsourcing or call center operations. We have, over the last few months, we have seen an uptake in terms of interest in Trinidad and Tobago to set up call center operations. And I do have to add, one of our competitive advantages is that we are a nascent location. This has not been one of our focus in previous years, but it is becoming an increasingly sought after destination for call center operations. And we do have several advantages here. Our English speaking, which is our first language, English. So that is driving a lot of BPO's interest in Trinidad and Tobago, as well as our highly educated labor force, our robust digital infrastructure, and the ability to adapt to hybrid work from home models. This here is an overview of our advanced digital capacity in Trinidad and Tobago as of January 2021. It presents our mobile, internet, as well as social media usage in Trinidad and Tobago. Out of our total population of 1.4 million, we do have 1.91 million who are connected via mobile devices. Our internet users are about 1.08 million at this time, and our active social media is about 940,000. This may have changed since January 2021. And I do have to also plug in here that we do have approximately 6 fiber connections into Trinidad and Tobago. And as I mentioned, we do have 5G capabilities as well. Perfect scenario for BPO operations. This here was one of our testimonials from Nearshore Americas. Again, there's a testimonial on some of the competitive advantages in Trinidad and Tobago, specific to BPOs in Trinidad and Tobago. With its stable infrastructure, diverse and educated talent, an excellent geographic location, Trinidad and Tobago has emerged as a serious contender in supporting the work from home model for BPOs. And one of the largest BPOs that is currently in Trinidad and Tobago is ICOR, and they have just set up their 3rd location in Trinidad and Tobago. So that in itself is testimony to the opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago for BPO or call centers. In addition to our call centers, in addition to the BPO, in addition to our maritime sector opportunities, we also do have industrial real estate opportunities. Several ETEC parks in Trinidad and Tobago, and ETEC is our agency, our sister agency that develops and builds these parks, and exporTT takes it from there and market it to the world, as well as to look for the future tenants in these parks. So I'll share with you today 3 parks that has been built by ETEC, and that presents a lot of opportunities for investors in Illinois. And these parks do have both built spaces as well as land lots available. First is the ETEC, Phoenix Park Industrial Estate that I mentioned earlier. This is our newest park under development. It's 144 acres and it's located in central Trinidad, and it's 10 minutes away from our nearest shipping or international shipping port, the Port of Point Lisas. And that is, for those of you who are considering import exports, that would be a key advantage, the location of this particular park. There are 3 clusters on this park. So these include manufacturing and assembly, logistics and distribution, and ICT industries. This gives you an overview of the park itself. It's located, as I mentioned, this is our capital city, Port of Spain, and this is our Piaco International Airport, and this is where the park is located, central Trinidad, with easy access to our 2nd largest port, the Port of Point Lisas. It is 5G network, and it has a number of innovative features that would allow for things like natural gas supply to each of the lots, boundary high security fencing, security surveillance system, and all of the above. There are 76 land lots that are available for light industrial activity in the 3 clusters that I mentioned. There are also 2 leasable lots available for commercial activity, and there are 5 factory shells that are available. 5 pre-built factory shells, which ranges in size from up to 50,000 square feet. Our 2nd park that I mentioned is the Tamana Intech Park, and this is about 1,100 acres that are currently available for opportunities in ICT, software development, BPOs, business processing, outsourcing, animation, data processing, manufacturing, and financial services. I do have to mention what the University of Trinidad and Tobago is also located in this park and has recently launched its a large animation hub. ICOR is also located in the flagship center here at the Tamana Intech Park. So there are several opportunities here, and if you'd like to discuss these, we'd be happy to do so after the post this event. Again, in terms of location, this is our capital city, Port of Spain. This is where our 1st park, the Phoenix Park Industrial Estate, was located. This is our Piaco International Airport, and just to the east of the Piaco International Airport, we do have our Tamana Intech Park. And there are several opportunities here in terms of being strategically located. Also, there's already access to very skilled resources. We do have the University of Trinidad and Tobago on campus, located within this park as well. Lots of opportunities here. Our third park that I mentioned is also built by ETEC, is our Moruga Agro-Processing and Light Manufacturing Park. And this is specific to the agro-processing industries. So it has about 18, this is one of our smallest park though, it is about 18.83 acres of state land that has built factory shells available for agro-processing and light industrial activities. In terms of location, juxtapositioning the other parks, the Moruga Agro-Processing Park is located more to the south of the island. There are 6 land lots available here for processing, and exporTT, our sister agency, mentioned earlier, hot peppers. This is one of the areas where you'd find also hot pepper processing. So what are the incentives that the government of Trinidad and Tobago offers to foreign investors? There are several incentives that are available at this time. And I do want to add that our special economic zone is currently under Parliament, and it is being looked at as bringing together all of the incentives under one umbrella that would provide several incentives for participants or for investors who are looking at investing in any of the industries or most of the industries within our industrial parks. So legislation, as I mentioned, is currently before the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Hopefully this special economic zone incentives will be operational in 2022. And the focus is to really modernize Trinidad and Tobago's economic free zone regime, to increase economic and social impact, and also to enhance the international appeal of Trinidad and Tobago to foreign investors. Some of the other incentives fall under the Fiscal Incentives Act, the Income Tax Act, the Corporation Tax Act, as well as the Customs Act. So these are specific incentives, and it will be applied to, and will be also applied depending, I should say, on the sector that you are involved in. As mentioned, I do have a video, but I don't think we would have the time for it. We're running out of time. But it is, the link is posted in our chat, is our newest investment video on Trinidad and Tobago. And it is available in the chat, as well as our e-flip book with additional opportunities, investment opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago. InvestTT will be open to questions afterwards. In addition, if you're interested in reaching us, you can also visit us at www.investtt.co.tt, and our investment team will be happy to follow up with any questions that you have. Thank you very much. Narad?
Thanks very much, Pramila. That was a very comprehensive presentation, and hopefully it whet the appetite of our colleagues who are online from Illinois. So we've heard the theory, and now we can see if it makes sense for people who are actually doing business. And in that regard, we'd like to introduce Jim Swartout, President and CEO of the Myosin Company Limited, to explain to us why, in his opinion, TNT is a good place to do business. For 2 decades, Jim has served as the President and CEO of Myosin LLC, based in Chicago, Illinois. It's a globally recognized dental manufacturing company. Myosin offers unique materials and equipment for fabricating complete dentures, metal-free partial dentures, and custom oral appliances to treat snoring and sleep apnea. Jim has worked extensively in the research and development of 3D printing and next-generation photopolymers for the past 4 years. With Jim's leadership, Myosin continues to prioritize the development of quality products, exceptional service, and innovation to improve patients' quality of life. Please welcome Jim Swartout, President and CEO of the Myosin Company Limited.
Thank you, Narad. I was grateful when Narad invited me to speak to you all today. I'm coming to you live from the north side of the city of Chicago. Here on the corner of Foster and Ravenswood, I would tell you it's 41 degrees. And for any of my fellow Illinoisans on the call, it is 90 degrees in Port of Spain, Trinidad. So there is one reason that I don't think has been mentioned, Rod, about a reason to do business in Trinidad is practically perfect weather, right? That's why you're the happiest place in the Caribbean. So today I want to touch on and emphasize a lot of what Pramila presented earlier, which dovetails perfectly into what I'm going to show you. Allow me to share my screen, and then Narad, just let me know if everybody's able to see it. Are we good?
No, not seeing it yet.
Okay, has it come up yet?
No, unfortunately not.
Okay. Let me try that again. I have it on the share screen.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, great.
So you just want to put it on presentation mode and
You got it. Are we there?
yep, we are.
Okay. So at Myosin, we've been in the dental industry for over 100 years. We were founded in 1917 by Dr. Simon Myosin, who was a professor at the Harvard Dental School. And it started as the Ideal Tooth Company, and they had a factory in Cambridge, Massachusetts. What's interesting about Myosin's history, it was then later renamed Dr. Myosin's Tooth Company and shortened to the Myosin Tooth Company. What's interesting is a trade mission very similar to this one is how we ended up in Trinidad. Over 70 years ago, the Myosin family, Dr. Myosin and his 3 sons, who were all MIT trained chemists, decided to invest in Trinidad and build a factory there. So we have been doing business in Trinidad for over 70 years. So I think that we bring a unique perspective and flavor to all the conversations and information that have been shared today. So our business is focused on the silver generation. Those who are 55 and older. A fascinating statistic is that the over 55 population of the United States is by itself the 2nd largest GDP in the world. And I don't have this number exactly right, but I believe they have about 80 to 85% of the wealth of the United States. So we're focused globally on this generation. As mentioned earlier, they're living longer and they're expecting to have a high quality of life, and dental care is at the foundation of good overall health. So why Trinidad and Tobago? I would say that at Myosin, we embody the potential for the full partnership between Illinois and Trinidad and Tobago. Here in the United States, on our warehouse on the north side, we have distribution where we serve our global customers. We have sales and marketing, customer service, corporate, all of that's here in Chicago, but the heart of the company beats in Trinidad. That's where we have our manufacturing, and as a Class 2 medical device company, we have other essential functions that happen only in Trinidad. It is our only manufacturing site, and I'll a little later touch on why that is. So this was touched on a moment ago. Why Trinidad? My daughter asked me this before my last visit. Do they speak Spanish in Trinidad? The answer is, well, they speak many languages, but their primary language is English. They speak it beautifully, as you can tell today, actually better than we Americans. So they speak a whisper of the Queen's English, but beautiful English speakers. And also, as noted, very high literacy rate. So a well-educated population. We have absolutely no trouble with any of these fundamental aspects of doing business, and make it a real pleasure to do business with Trinidadians. Logistics, I can't emphasize this enough. The adjacent time zone. As an executive, I so cherish having a factory that's not, overnight. I have to talk to them. I can talk to them. They're only an hour ahead of us 6 months of the year, and then the rest of the year, 2 hours ahead of us. So adjacent time zone is a huge convenience for me. Competitive labor rates for certain compared to US, Canadian, European standards, fair wages. People can maintain a good lifestyle, but absolutely competitive compared to what the pressures we're facing here in the United States for sure. Also, time travel for goods. This is critical. We use FedEx to ship from Trinidad, Port of Spain. It gets picked up, it gets routed to Puerto Rico, up to Memphis, and then to Chicago. We will ship our goods on Friday, And I would say more often than not, they show up here Monday morning after clearing customs and FDA clearance in Memphis. The costs, which we've had repeatedly bid out using air freight, are actually as competitive as ocean freight with all the benefits of the time savings, because the carriers want to fill up their planes, because Trinidad is also an import economy. And so they want to fill up their containers and their planes as they're leaving Trinidad. So we export 99.9% of what we make, and logistics and freight is a huge part of it. Another thing that was mentioned earlier that I can echo is how easy it is to get to Trinidad. I fly an American from Chicago to Miami in the morning. I catch the flight to Port of Spain. I'm in my hotel room that night and ready to work the next day. So it's very easy to get to Port of Spain, Trinidad, no question about it. During the Great Recession, we in the dental industry did not escape all of the difficulties that so many faced. As demand for dental services declined, and we are a manufacturer, we saw a significant drop in revenue. We started to move key business functions from Chicago to Trinidad as a mode of survival. I would tell you in hindsight that was actually the path towards thriving, is that survival tactic. I underappreciated how many different things and high level skills we could do in our factory. So we essentially outsourced to ourselves. Those include finance. Our corporate finance manager is based in Trinidad. Regulatory compliance. At Myosin, we are regulated by the FDA, Health Canada. We're also beholden to the European medical device directives. We're ISO 13485. We sell in Japan, so we have to comply with Japanese FDA guidelines. It's a huge burden for a company of our size to manage, but we have such an excellent regulatory compliance team in Trinidad that they make it easy. So regulatory compliance is a key attribute. We handle all of our purchasing out of Trinidad, where we have a buyer. We handle our inventory planning for our Chicago warehouse is done in Trinidad. And then more recently, as we've invested heavily in R&D, that also was done in Trinidad. And I'll give you a real world example in a moment. In terms of working with Trinidadians and Tobagonians, I really couldn't think of a better people to work with. They have an extremely strong work ethic. I do have to disclose, and forgive me, Narad, Trinidad has 22 public holidays a year. So you have to accommodate that. But when people come to work, they come to work hard. So they have an excellent work ethic. They have very much a team mentality. As you probably have gotten a sense of already, the Trinis love their country. And I think that carries over into the workplace. They're proud of their country and they love it. So you have happy people that come to work and they want to work together. And the other thing that's really impressed me about the people of Trinidad and Tobago is their thirst for knowledge. They're so eager to learn. And I marvel at the people at Myosin who, outside of work on their own nickel or Trinidadian and Tobago dollar, actually go find education wherever they can for professional development. So I can't emphasize this enough. The curiosity and the eagerness to learn among the Trinis is really exceptional. We at Myosin are particularly proud of our accomplishments in terms of advancing the causes of women. Twice we've been recognized by an organization in Trinidad for being for our excellence in promoting women as executives. Our factory right now is run by 2 women. Celia Brito Lee is our director of operations. She started in the factory in productions and now has over 90 people reporting directly to her. And then we also have Miss Linda Wells, who's our corporate finance manager. So the 2 of them run our factory. I was unable to travel to Trinidad when it closed for COVID protocols. I just visited last month and saw Narad. It was my first visit in 2 years. And over that time, the people in Trinidad ran our factory absolutely brilliantly through the most difficult of challenges, including dealing with the pandemic. So we couldn't have made it through and are now thriving with having a record year if it weren't for the people in our factory in Trinidad and Tobago. I mentioned R&D. We are now a world leader in the area of 3D printing materials. And again, it's because of the excellence of our team in Trinidad that we were able to pivot and move as dentistry has evolved into digital workflows. We had to go with it. or else, as I said to our team, we'd be the 100-year-old company that wouldn't last 100 months. So we just launched this month a new 3D resin called Trusana, which represents a revolution in 3D materials. It will be distributed globally by Henry Schein, who's the world's largest distributor to dental and medical practices. They've negotiated exclusive rights to it. It is made in Trinidad. We hired a chemist. We built out a production area. We also now have a full 3D printing operation, which Narad saw when he visited our factory. So we are now a world leader in the area of advanced 3D photopolymers. And again, I don't think that would have been possible without the excellence of our team in Trinidad. So in closing, coming from, beautiful fall day here in Chicago, I would say that Trinidad isn't just a good place to do business, it is a terrific place to do business. And for anyone who's considering investing there, I would say it's the smart place to do business. So Narad, thanks for inviting me. This has been terrific.
Thanks, Jim. I hope you negotiate your contract with InvestTT to do some, to be a spokesperson, because that was excellent.
All you have to do is get me some Soca Warriors t-shirts and I'm yours.
Soca Warriors t-shirts, KFC and roti, right? And you're good?
I'm good. And some doubles and I'm good.
All right, fair enough. Thanks very much for that. Really appreciated it. And I mean, the point, as you know, of having someone like Jim here is you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. He won't say it if he didn't believe it, if he didn't live it. And, while every place has their challenges, Trinidad and Tobago is in fact a good place to do business if you have a good business. So thanks a lot, Jim.
My pleasure.
Now we move on to the Honorable LaShawn K. Ford, Legislator at the Illinois General Assembly, who will be speaking on business opportunities in Illinois as the reverse. He's also the chair of the House Democratic Task Force to increase state government business opportunities for minority-owned enterprises and small businesses. So, Mr. Ford, we'd be happy to have Legislator Ford now at this point.
Thank you so very much for having me, and thank you for the introduction. And, as the chair of higher ed approach also, we believe that this is a great opportunity for our higher ed community to be engaged in this, because it opens up great opportunities for all of our scholars that are aspiring to do business. So I want to thank the American Chamber of Commerce for putting on this opportunity for local businesses to benefit from virtual trade missions to Illinois. It's set up for this type of activity. So I want to congratulate Myosin and for their success in leading the way in Illinois with the trade to TNT. So that's excellent that we have a perfect example of what it could be like to do business in Trinidad. The governor has done a fantastic job with what you call back to business grants to support small businesses that could benefit from trade to TNT. So I'm happy to report that we're going to be in full support of the virtual work that you're going to be doing January 19th, 20th, and the 22nd, where we're going to be pushing people to learn about all the opportunities that are available, as we saw Jim taking advantage of. He's a leader that he has been very successful in his business, Myosin, in Trinidad. And so we know that in the world that we live in, we know you can't always be as successful in your homeland. And when there are opportunities far and wide, you should take advantage of them. And as I said, the country, the United States and both Trinidad and Tobago are prepared to not only receive goods, but also export goods. So it's a win-win for the people of Illinois and Trinidad and Tobago. So I'm happy to join in, and I'm looking forward to working with you to have a trade mission to Trinidad and Tobago so that people in the legislature will understand exactly what's available in Trinidad and Tobago. so that we can open up greater opportunities for the people of Illinois. Many times we travel to different parts of the world for trade missions. This has to be on the list. We have to make sure that we add this to the list. The governor of Illinois, Governor J.B. Pritzker, and Speaker Welch and President Harmon just took a trip to the UK to promote the clean energy bill that we passed in Illinois. And so we believe that the clean energy and the electric cars, we believe that this is a great opportunity to come to Trinidad and Tobago to also promote that with you. So with that, I just want to tell you that the state of Illinois and the legislature looks forward to working with you all to increase trade and import and export to Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Representative Ford. We really appreciate it and look forward to your support as we go forward to build this relationship. Sometimes, you know, it takes time, but we're quite optimistic that after January, we'd have some specific business opportunities on the table and maybe more like Myosin interested in investing in Trinidad and Tobago as well. So it's now time for the question and answer session. So I'm seeing a question on the National Restaurant Association show on whether that's still being held in Illinois. I'm not sure if anyone from Illinois can answer that, but I'm sure that's something that, I know that's something we can get an answer for from the embassy here in Trinidad and Tobago. So Fisher B, if you send us an email, you could send it to, or can you
Yes, I actually answered in the chat. It is still being held in Chicago and the next show is in May next year.
Oh, great. Okay. And did you answer the SPCA?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great. All right. Sorry about that. Good. So there are no more questions in the chat at this point, but does anyone have a question that you haven't yet asked?
There are some questions on the Q&A button.
Oh, there we go. The state of Illinois has a good roster. So I guess Representative Ford, would businesses from Trinidad and Tobago have access to any kind of support for state systems or through a joint venture or distributorship or anything like that?
Yeah, so in order to do business with the state, you have to register. And Illinois, we allow for people that register and to become qualified to do business with the state. There's no discrimination. So the fact that we've already established strong relationships with the United States has already established strong relationships with Trinidad and Tobago, and Illinois has relationships already, as you saw with Jim. It's a good chance that we should work with our Department of Economic and Opportunities for these businesses to register to do. And, you know, I think that we also look to partner with different businesses in the state of Illinois and set up partnerships with already established businesses so that your goods could be sold right here in the state of Illinois, and we could put your goods on the shelves as long as they are approved by customs and by the FDA.
Right. I see portals like film and music and support for local entertainment. I'm not sure exactly what kind of support you'd be asking for, Ryan, but what I can tell you is when last I was in Illinois, our consultant on this project, Ann Weathers, took me to what was called the Black Harvest Film Festival. And while there are fantastic and very mature film and television productions in Illinois, there is also a very nascent film industry. And so I think there are lots of opportunities for collaboration in the area of film production. And I see Representative Ford has come back on. I know there's some incentives. I don't know if you wanted to speak about that.
Yeah, Illinois has become a almost like Hollywood. And so, yes, there are lots of opportunities for in the film industry. And we know that the what you see on TV takes a lot of work, and there are so many different opportunities in film industry, and including not only the films, the big screen, but also our on the stage where you have plays. And so there are many opportunities when you talk about creating jobs and services in Illinois.
Thanks very much. And of course, if there's a specific project, that's why we're having this session, Ryan. So if you have a specific project or specific company, we're trying to do the matching between now and January so that it's not hit and miss. So that Aaron, is in part answer to your question as well. Yes, we are asking you to send us your company profile and your request, whether it is you're looking for a buyer, an investor, etc. And we will do some matching. And of course, exporTT will be part of that process so that we try and refine to ensure that we are in fact following up to get you the best match, best sets of meetings that we can in January. Pramila, you wanted to answer a question from the chat. So please go ahead.
Sorry, there was a question, Narad, on corporation tax, and I just was looking at that one. So if there's I can provide a bit of background on it, and I think the question was on corporation tax.
Yeah, go ahead. It's corporation tax in Illinois, though. Huh? That's the question.
Okay. So yeah. So I was just going to provide some insights into the Corporation Tax Act in Trinidad and Tobago. So I wouldn't have that information. Right. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So Ryan, again, if you have specific questions, or maybe Dana Hooven can answer that one. If Dana is still on. Or Ms. Lyons, I'm not sure if they're still on. But again, if you have specific questions, we can try. Usually, your effective tax rate is a function of how you file your tax structure your business. So we'd always recommend that you get a tax attorney or a firm to help you in whatever you are doing. We are taking questions via the Q&A function. So if you can put them in there, we would be great. That would be great, sorry. David, I'm not sure what you're asking. I mean, creating new trading centers is always something that we're trying to do. So I'm not sure about CARICOM in particular, but I know like Jamaica, there are flights from the Midwest to Jamaica and the like. So expanding our markets and the presence for our goods is always going to be a good idea. I'm not sure if I answered your question, the specific question that you asked. Okay, I see Hesma Tyson has a question. I'd ask, we aren't really opening it up to oral questions, so we ask that you make it very, very brief. But I don't think we have the function enabled to ask a question. So if you could just, type the main points, we'll get it answered to you. In the meantime, are there any further questions? Hesma, you're gonna ask your question in the Q&A.
Okay, thank you very much. What I would like to find out from exporTT is the distributors that they have, are they product specific? For example, many times we will get distributors who are importers of food, but when you do contact them, they do not want to purchase, say, Caribbean sauces, Caribbean products, is probably Mediterranean or Italian. So I would like to find out if the distributors they have are interested in Caribbean specific products.
Okay. So Hesma, what we're doing is we're asking you to send to us what you are interested in doing business around, right? So if it sounds like you're interested in exporting Caribbean sauces, so if you could send us that information, what we will try to do in January is match with people who are interested in distributing Caribbean sauces. And if we don't get interest, then, I mean, you know, we don't get interest, but we're going to try our best to match you with people who are interested in what you're trying to do, as opposed to just match you with someone at random. So the more specific you can be in communicating your interest, the better we can do the matching. And of course, this will be done through a process with our consultant and follow up between our team and exporTT to try and get as much pre-information as we can. Yeah, and G. Smith, in the chat, you can reach out. We have 2 email addresses, 2 team members, Melissa Pear and Rayanne Painter-Mendez, who will be following up with exporTT and our consultant to try and, as I said, set up those meetings. So please be in touch with them at your convenience. The sooner the better, so that we can get everything out to potential partners. Anything else? What about professional service providers? So for now, I mean, there is, I think what exporTT does, and Kanika, Dana, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but for the services sector, you can get some support for trade shows and shipping of materials and brochures and the like. And of course, we're happy to match if you send us your profile and your interests in January. But I'm not aware of any further support beyond sort of trade shows and shipping of marketing materials or the like. Kanika, do you have anything to add to that, or Danraj?
Yes, so for services, yeah, we do tend to rely on primary research. Actually, when we meet with the buyers of services, then we could provide that information. So I think at this stage, we wouldn't be able to, but as we get into the research, we will share whatever we get.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Well, if there are no other questions, I want to thank everyone for participating. We're very, very grateful, as I said, for the partnerships and for the support to all of our international speakers from Illinois. We're, again, thanks very much for taking the time. Representative Ford, Jim, Ms. Lyons, Ms. Hoven, we really appreciate the support. And of course, to our local partners at exporTT and Investing, we're very, very grateful for this. And we look forward to doing a great mission in January. And thanks our consultant, Ann Weathersby, and on our team, Melissa Pear, and Rayanne Painter-Mendez for putting all this together and for the support that Nirala and Kennedy and Michelle have been giving to this effort. Thank you very much to the Honorable Minister for taking the time. Again, we're very, very grateful for the support as well. And I must shout out the chair of our Trade and Investment Committee, Mr. Stuart Franco, who also sits on our board and has been working tirelessly around promoting trade and investment as well. So if there are no other questions, just a reminder, send emails to melissa@amchamtt.com or to Rayanne Painter at AmchamTT.com. Rayanne is hyphenated, and that way we can answer your questions and get you in touch with businesses in Illinois who may be willing to do business with us. So thanks very much. And be safe, everyone. Continue to minimize your risk, get vaccinated, encourage others to get vaccinated. And let's beat this thing and start rebuilding our economy and our society. So thank you very much. Take care. Have a good day.